I'm going to walk you through the Softa Recliner chair and try to give you a clear picture of whether it really fits into a living room, home theater, or bedroom setup without any of the hype you see on most product videos. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The goal here is to help you decide if the money you're thinking of spending actually translates into everyday comfort, not just a nice look on a showroom floor. When you're eyeing a recliner, the first thing that makes most people pause is the fear of ending up with something that looks great in the catalog but turns into a space eater or a back pain inducer after a few weeks. You've probably seen a lot of adjustable recline claims and wondered whether that means a smooth glide or a clunky lever that you have to wrestle with every time you want to kick back. The Softa chair promises a range of back positions from 90 to 155 degrees, an extended footrest, and fabric that's supposed to be breathable and skin-friendly. Those sound nice on paper, but the real question is how those features behave once you actually sit down after a long day. I started by thinking about the typical places people put a recliner. In a home theater, you want a seat that can tilt far enough back to give you a full view of the screen without blocking the aisle. In a living room, you might need something that hugs a corner but still leaves room for a coffee table. And in a bedroom, you're probably looking for a spot where you can read an app or watch a show without feeling cramped. The Softa chair's footprint is relatively modest for a reclining armchair, and the design leans toward a modern aesthetic that won't clash with most core styles. That means it can slip into a corner or sit against a wall without looking out of place. One of the first practical strengths I noticed is the quick and simple setup. The chair arrives in a single box and the instruction sheet walks you through assembly in about 10 to 15 minutes. There's no need for a power drill or any extra tools beyond the included Allen key. For anyone who isn't a DIY enthusiast, that's a major confidence booster because you won't end up spending a weekend trying to decipher a confusing manual. The recline mechanism itself is a manual lever that sits on the side of the chair. When you pull it, the back smoothly slides through the advertised range. In my testing, the transition between positions felt solid, without any sudden clicks or wobble that sometimes happen with cheaper mechanisms. The extended footrest is another point that separates a regular armchair from a true recliner. When you tilt the back to the deeper angles, the footrest automatically slides out and supports the calves. The surface is padded enough that you can keep your feet up for a full half-hour movie without feeling the edge digging into your shins. That's a genuine win for people who use a recliner for binge watching or for short naps. However, the footrest does extend quite far, which means you need a little extra clearance in front of the chair. If you live in a tight apartment where the wall is only a foot away, the footrest might hit the wall before it fully extends, limiting the recline depth you can actually use. The fabric upholstery is marketed as breathable and skin-friendly, and in real use it does feel softer than a typical polyester blend you see on budget recliners. The weave allows a bit of air circulation, so you don't get that clammy feeling after an hour of sitting in a warm room. The downside is that the fabric is light-colored brown, which can show dust or pet hair more readily than darker tones. If you have children, pets, or a tendency to eat on the couch, you'll probably need to vacuum the chair a couple of times a week just to keep it looking fresh. The material itself is not leather, so you won't get that wiped clean convenience, but you also avoid the sticky heat that leather can produce in summer. From a value for money perspective, the Softa recliner sits in a middle tier. The price point is higher than the cheapest fabric recliners you can find on discount sites, but it's still well below premium leather models that charge double or triple. What you're really paying for is the combination of a decent recline mechanism, a fabric that feels a little nicer, and a design that doesn't scream budget furniture. If you're someone who wants a dedicated spot for movie nights and you're willing to spend a little extra for that extra footrest length, the chair offers a reasonable trade-off. On the other hand, if you only need an occasional place to sit and you're comfortable with a basic armchair that doesn't recline, you'll probably get better overall utility by putting that money toward a higher quality sofa or a set of comfortable floor cushions. Who should definitely consider this chair? First, anyone who spends a lot of time in a single spot.